start now discussing a little bit of the categories of marks that are associated with trademarks. I'm not going to discuss the reading that you did yet, and with respect to sections 4.2 and 4.3, because it actually relates just a little bit more to what we will cover in the next section on 4.3. All right. So 4.2 right here. Now, first off, the Lanham Act defines that a trademark may include any word, name, symbol, or device, or even a combination of those elements. So keep in mind that, for example, you may have the word apple that is protected just by the text itself. That would be the word or the name. But you might also have a symbol, the actual Apple logo, for example. And each of those would be different marks that would actually be protected. And we have discussed a little bit about that second element relating to the bona fide intention of why it is that we want that associated with trademarks. Otherwise, it would encumber and kind of dilute the whole reason why we have trademarks. And then the second part of that, the very last bullet point there, to indicate the source of the goods. So again, as a recap, whenever we discuss trademarks, this can relate to branding, sourcing of products and information. So you see here a few different examples of actual marks. Now I just want to point out a few things. First off, you might have the word Microsoft, but what you see here is actually the logo. So you have the logo Microsoft, same with Coca-Cola. But look at McDonald's. So you have the McDonald's, the stereotypical M. But underneath it, there's a phrase, "I'm loving it." So you might in fact actually have two different marks here. One, you might have a mark just off of the name or the logo or the phrase, "I'm loving it." If you were to say the phrase, "I'm loving it," the question that they would be asking is, do you associate that phrase with McDonald's? And if so, then you can probably get some protection on it. In like manner though, with respect to the brand and the branding of the mark itself, we see that we have both the logo of the M with the text underneath. So sometimes you may in fact have a mark that has a combination of two things, but it's actually being shown just as one element. So in this case, with the letter M with the text underneath it, may actually be the entire mark as an entity. In like manner, underneath it you have the Nike logo and the swoosh logo as well. You'll notice that there's actually, it appears, two different R's with a circle around it that designates two different registered marks there. You have the KFC and then the Apple that we have discussed as well. So each of these may include, with businesses in general, they may include not only a logo that helps to establish the branding of the product service to the consumers, but additionally, you might also have words or phrases that are associated with the company as well. So the use of trademarks may relate to any type of goods, soft drinks, foods, clothing, toys, airliners, even tractors. And it can also relate to intangible objects as well, ebooks, software, music, and video. Service marks are actually an entire different branch within this trademark type protection that we are discussing. So again, the Lanham Act indicates that subject to the provisions, service marks shall be registrable in the same manner and with the same effect as trademarks. So in short, service marks are exactly the same as trademarks, but the question that you may be asking, well, how then are they really different? And the answer is what it is that it is actually protecting. So trademarks, if we go back, relate to goods. Goods meaning soft drinks, food, clothing, tractors, airliners, things of that nature. Service marks, on the other hand, actually relate to a service that is being provided. So you may think of an accounting service or a stock service. These are services that are being provided to the public, but it's not necessarily, for example, either a tangible or intangible, as we've discussed, good that you're actually receiving. And because of that, if it's simply a service that you're receiving, then you could potentially pursue protection via a service mark. So here's some examples for you. Federal Express, they provide an air transport service. Google provides a searching type service. Massachusetts General Hospital. Now you may think, well, yes, I guess you're not walking out with a toy, you're walking out with healed individuals. So those would be hospital services. Then even The Simpsons, it's an entertainment service through a TV program. Harvard University, in like manner, it's an educational service. So the question is, can any symbol used by a business qualify as a service mark? And the answer is no. That the mark that is being used, the symbol in this case, must actually be used to identify a specific service. So in the service is actually a specific activity that is being provided by the entity as well. So I have an example here for you relating to Hammerhead Investments. So that is a business that researches companies and buys their stock on the public stock exchange. The question is, does Hammerhead Investments qualify as a service mark? And the answer is no, because Hammerhead is only providing the services to itself. So that business, they go out, they research, they buy, but that service is never actually provided to clients. If Hammerhead were to actually sell, let's say, their investment strategies or their services to individuals outside of the company, then it could be used as a service mark. Other classifications and categories of marks include collective marks. So a collective mark means a trademark or a mark or a service mark. So again, it could be with respect to a good or a service used by members of some organization. So people that come together in some association and they actually want to use the mark or logo or name collectively. So you see here, for example, FTD is Florist Trans World Delivery. This is an association that florists can join, and they would be able to, once they are part of that association, have access to potentially using the logo and or the mark. Certification marks, on the other hand, so again, if we go back to this collective mark, just think of collective mark as some collection of individuals coming together to use the same mark. You may be asking, well, what's the benefit of that? And one of the benefits, because obviously this is not a mark that is owned by a specific entity, it is a mark that once you can use, helps to establish quality, helps in the consumer's mind to know there's at least a base threshold here as far as service and or quality and quality that's being provided. So there are some benefits. It's kind of, let's say that if you were to join the bandwagon and start using Android Auto within your car, you get to now use a little bit of the goodwill associated with that mark with respect to the vehicle that you're trying to promote, like manner, Apple CarPlay, things of that nature. Certification marks, on the other hand, now actually I would indicate one other thing with respect to that to make sure that you don't get confused. Android Auto and in like manner Apple CarPlay are marks that are actually owned by that specific entity. So whereas, and my point there was simply that there is goodwill associated with the name that when you use it in your product might help to solicit and generate additional goodwill. But as far as the collective marks are concerned, Android Auto and Apple CarPlay are not collective marks. Those are marks that are specifically used by, for example, Google and or Apple exclusively, and they may give some license to be able to use the mark on other products and or cars that are actually using it. Collective marks are actually an organization that once you're part of it, then you can use it. But the goodwill associated with that mark is the benefit that you're getting by using it. Certification marks actually assist with providing information relating to a person's goods and or services or even labor. And this is usually being performed by a union or other organization. So here's some examples for you. You may recognize in particular on the bottom left-hand corner, the Energy Star Compliance. You may, top right-hand corner, one over from there, you might see the recycle type of a symbol as well. Each of these certification marks means that when that device or when that good or even when that service is actually being provided to the public, it is in compliant with whatever the requirements are for that certification. So in the case of Energy Star type compliant, if you buy a stove or refrigerator or something to that effect, you know that it is at a minimum surpassing or at least meeting the thresholds that are being specified by the Energy Star certification. So, and in this case, it allows the potential purchaser to rely on third-party type information about a seller's goods or services. So if we were to buy a refrigerator from LG and it actually has that Energy Star compliant on it, Energy Star in this case is a third party that is being used to assist with providing information about LG's refrigerator. So as far as what is indicated within that certification mark, it will include the origin, the material, the mode of manufacture, making sure that it's compliant, for example, with labor standards wherever it is being manufactured, and then standards and protocols as well. So symbols, going back to where we started in the Lanham Act, Lanham Act indicated that one of the areas that can be protected is symbols. The Supreme Court back in 1995 found that since human beings might use as a symbol or device almost anything, and I would indicate that it's very true, at all that is capable of carrying meaning, this language read literally is not restrictive. So the symbol could actually be used in any manner. Any type of symbol may be used to denote a source of a good or service. A trademark may consist of anything used as a source identity symbol, provided it complies with the substantive requirements. So any type of symbol may actually be used with respect to trademarks.